Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can tell by the title of this video, you know what we're going to be talking about today. I have the dogs in here with me laying down if you can see them. I don't really know how to start this video or where to go with it, but I felt like it was important to make this video for a couple different reasons, but mainly because this channel is our, TTC journey, and this is a part of our journey. And also, if you watched our last video, I can't really continue on without making this video, I feel like. We had a chemical pregnancy, and it's been a few days, so I've been able to process it a little better, which is why I feel like I'm able to finally come on here and talk about it. And I just wanted to kind of tell our story and tell my thought process through the whole thing. Because when I was going through it, I was looking on YouTube, trying to find other women's experiences, and I couldn't really find a lot. I found some videos, but I didn't really see a lot of other women who were posting videos about this. So I just thought maybe I could help somebody. I don't know what could even come out of this, but I just wanted to update you guys and let you know what happened. So after my last video that you saw, I found out that I was pregnant, which, looking back on that video, if I watched myself back at the very end, I kind of could see the knowing in my face that I kind of knew something was gonna happen, which I didn't really say it in the video because I was trying to be positive and I didn't know. But that day before I made the video, I had taken 2 more tests. I think I took a total of 6 tests in all. The test was still positive. It was definitely positive, but it was lighter in my opinion. Nobody else said it was lighter. My husband even said that he thought it was the same. So we were just staying hopeful. At that point, there was nothing for me to even be afraid of. I was worried, but I told myself I wasn't going to stress. I wasn't going to be afraid, and we were just going to stay positive. So a couple of days after that, I was at work. Everything was fine. I actually called my OB that morning to let them know that I had a positive, and they scheduled for me to come in to confirm pregnancy, and then we would make my first OB appointment. So that was really exciting and that was great. So about an hour later, I went to the restroom, and every time I went to the restroom, I would look just to make sure that there was no bleeding, because that was my biggest fear. So that time there was a little bit of pink spotting, like barely. I wouldn't have even noticed it if I wasn't looking for it, but there was some there. But I wasn't concerned because I knew that that is common, and it was so light, like so light. But I texted my best friend who is a mom, and she said it was totally normal. I texted my mom, she said it was totally normal. So I wasn't too concerned, but I was still worried, which I feel like is normal. After that, I started cramping a little bit. Nothing too crazy, nothing even close to my period cramping. So again, I wasn't too worried about it. I was just trying to take it easy as much as I could at work, and figured when I went to the doctor, I could tell them and everything would be okay. But after that, about an hour later, I went to the restroom again, and the spotting was more, but it was still very light pink and it was still very minimal. And I actually sent a picture of it to my best friend, and she was like, totally normal, had the same thing when I was pregnant, don't even worry about it, like it's fine, which I knew that it was normal. So I still wasn't too concerned, but still worried because I freak out about everything. About an hour later, I was in a case at work, so I couldn't go to the restroom during that time. It was about an hour and a half, and during that time I started cramping a lot more, worse than period pains, and that was when I really started getting worried and kind of telling myself what I thought was happening. So I made it through the case and I went to the restroom again, and at that point it was very bright pink. Sorry if this is TMI to anybody, and it was a lot more. So I, at that point, kind of knew what was going on, and I was trying to prepare myself for what I knew was going on. Luckily, I was able to leave work early, and I called my OB and told them what was going on, and they told me to go ahead and come in, and so I went straight there, and I was still cramping. I was a wreck, like I was sobbing the whole way there. When I got there, they took me back to take a urine sample, and when I wiped, it was very obvious what was happening. There was no denying it that I was losing the pregnancy. So I waited in the waiting room, and they called me up there and told me that the pregnancy test was negative, which I figured was gonna happen. And I felt like they didn't even believe that I was pregnant to begin with, because the nurse asked, are you having any pregnancy symptoms? And I said, yeah, I had 6 positive tests. So they took me to the back and did blood work on me to test my HCG levels, and I left, and I knew what was happening. Obviously, the test was negative, and I kind of figured when I took the test a few days before and it was lighter, which I didn't take a test a few days after that one because I told myself I was just going to stress myself out more, and I was going to wait a week before I took another test. And it was still very early, so I knew that. So we lost the pregnancy, and the next day I got my results back, and it said that my HCG levels were 2, which means I'm not pregnant. And I think to them, since they never had proof of pregnancy, I just wasn't pregnant to them, which is fine. I understand that. But there was nothing that could be done and nothing else they wanted to do. That is it. The day that it happened, I came home and spent hours researching everything that I could about it, which is another reason why I wanted to make this video, because I feel like there wasn't a ton of personal experiences that I found on YouTube, and there were a lot of like medical videos, which were great, but I felt like I wanted to see somebody else go through it and see what they went through. And I also wanted to share what I found when I was researching, because I literally for days after just read as much as I could about it. So what I did find out was that chemical pregnancy just means a very early miscarriage. It was before 5 weeks, which I was, At that time, there was no heartbeat at all, so it was still technically a blastocyst is what I think they call it. Some people called it an embryo, but it never had a heartbeat, so there was never, I guess, life. And it did implant, so it was a fertilized egg, and it did implant into my uterine wall somewhat, but everything I read said that basically my body recognized that there was a chromosomal abnormality, which caused my body to reject it and shed it all like a normal period. So that is everything that I read, and there are some other reasonings that could have caused it, but mainly that's what I read that most of them were. I also read that about 80% of miscarriages are chemical pregnancies, and a lot of women don't even know that they were pregnant because if you weren't testing, if you weren't tracking, you might just think that it was a late period, which is what I would have thought, because when I tested and got a positive, I still hadn't even missed my period yet. So if I would have never even tested, if I never would have even tested, I would have never even known. But I was talking to my husband about it, and we both agreed that while it sucks and I wish that I wouldn't have had to go through that because the pain was excruciating, the positive is that we know that we can conceive and that that's not an issue. And that's another thing that I read, was that a lot of doctors, when their patients go through this, will actually say that it's, good to know that they can get pregnant. So that was one thing that I tried to keep in the back of my mind, because we were worried that we couldn't conceive after 6 months of trying, which I know is still early, but your mind just goes to the worst. Another thing that I read, which I don't think there's a ton of evidence proving it, but a lot of studies showed that women who try to conceive within 3 months of having a chemical pregnancy or even a miscarriage, like an earlier miscarriage, have higher fertility rates, which again isn't 100% scientifically proven, but I read a lot of studies, and a lot of studies showed that like 70% of the women that were in this study got pregnant within 3 months of having a miscarriage or an early miscarriage. And I don't know what the reasoning for that is. There were a lot of things that I read, but I try to keep that in the back of my mind, knowing that there's hope for us. But there were a lot of success stories that I read of women who had chemical pregnancies and went on, in a few months to get pregnant and everything was fine. I know that I have friends that have had this happen to them and they, have perfect children. And my husband has friends who told him that they went through the same thing and their wives got pregnant, really quickly after. And we also have some family members that have had this happen to them, and they also conceived quickly after. So I'm trying to stay positive and hopeful. When this first happened and I was going through it, I thought it was like the end of the world and I was a wreck. And even for a few days after that, I was really down about it. But it's been a few days now and I've been able to really process it and everything that happened. And I realized how common it is for women and how there's nothing we could have done to prevent it. So it makes me feel a little bit better about it. It still really sucks because I feel like we didn't even get over the excitement phase. I feel like, we were still really excited and we were preparing on telling people, and all of that was kind of ripped away very suddenly from us, which that I think was the worst part about it. was like the days after that, I just kept thinking I should be pregnant right now and I'm not, and having to like go from like being pregnant and trying to tell yourself that you're pregnant because it was our first time. So the mindset of like, I'm pregnant, like, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant, and then all of a sudden having to like revert back to no, you're not, was hard. It's still a very weird feeling, but I feel like we're finally at a place where we can not really get over it, because that's terrible to say, but be hopeful and try to continue and move forward and try again. Sorry, this video was really long, and I actually had a lot more I wanted to say in this video, and I had like a pathway I wanted to go because I thought about it, but I forgot all of it when I started filming. So sorry if this video is really long, and sorry if it's weird and awkward, but I just wanted to update you guys on what was going on because that's a part of our journey, and I can't really post more videos when the whole world thinks I'm pregnant, or the subscribers that I have think I'm pregnant and I'm not anymore. So I guess that is all for this video. I'm gonna end it here, and I will see you guys in my next video. I'm not sure when that will be or what it will be, but we have decided to continue to try, so I guess there will be those. I don't know. I'm not really sure what else I want to do or how I want to do it now, but I do still want to continue this journey and document it because it is our journey, and I know that one day looking back, we'll be able to see where we started and how we grew, and I still really want to have that, and I don't want to end this journey, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end it because at this point I'm just rambling and I don't even know what else to say. I'm sure I'll have a lot more to say, and I'm sure I'll say it later in another video. But yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.